Dogs are a part of our everyday lives, but how did they evolve into the different breeds we see around us today? To find the answer, we must take a journey back through thousands of years when early humans were hunters and gatherers. As humans hunted, wolves would follow, eating the scraps of food they left behind. Eventually, the humans started hunting with the wolves and sharing food with them.
Basically, over time, humans have sort of allowed dogs to come into their village, and especially if they were helpful, they let them live and breed. And over time, that breeding became more and more sophisticated so that they were actually choosing dogs that did things that were useful to them, like help them hunt or help them herd their herd animals like sheep or cattle. And so, over time, it's this artificial selection process of humans choosing which animals would live and which ones would breed that leads to the artificial selection and the formation of these different breeds.
Through artificial selection, humans gradually selected the traits they wanted and created the breeds we have today.
So natural selection is just the process of nature deciding which animals survived and which ones reproduced. Well, artificial selection is very much the same, and it leads to evolution in very much the same way, but it's humans that decide which animals live and which animals can breed with each other. But because they've been under artificial selection for so long, they've evolved down these separate evolutionary paths, if you will. And so the dog breeds are still very different, and you can recognize them easily, but we still consider them the same species because they can interbreed with one another.
With their short, water-resistant coats and webbed feet, Labradors were bred as gun dogs and waterfowl retrievers. The dogs that were the most adept swimmers were prized by breeders and therefore were bred to create offspring that were the best at retrieving ducks and other waterfowl that their owners shot. Greyhounds are known for their speed, and they were selectively bred for hunting. Skinny, aerodynamic dogs were able to catch fast prey, and humans continued to breed greyhounds to be skinnier and faster, resulting in the racing dogs that greyhounds are known as today. The Sleeve Pekingese were prized for their tiny size. Members of the Chinese imperial household would take the smallest pup in a litter and then breed it with the smallest pup of another litter. The offspring would then be naturally smaller than the previous generation. This process would be repeated multiple times to create dogs that could be hidden in the spacious sleeves of royals. The Pekingese dog is one of the oldest breeds of dogs, and it is one of the breeds that is most genetically similar to wolves. We can see many differences between modern domestic dog breeds and their wolf ancestors.
Well, the differences can be very subtle because domestic dogs are the descendants of wolves, so they have a lot of the same genes and the same skull elements. But over time, we've selected them to do different things. And so one of the major differences is that the muzzle tends to be longer or shorter in some. The attachment of the muscles that close the jaws can be, stronger in some and weaker in some. And then there's several other different characteristics that change and that are under selection.
So, as you can see, all the various breeds of modern dogs today have come a very long way from their wild wolf ancestors. Through artificial selection, we have managed to turn wild wolves into man's best friend.